Let's go! Woo! Over the middle, and it's complete to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson makes someone miss. Garrett Wilson's loose to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Breece Hall cuts up the middle. Breece Hall's loose. Breece Hall's gone. Breece Hall is gone. He walks into the end zone. Josh Allen fires it over the middle. Intercepted. Sauce Gardner picks off Allen. Sauce Gardner, let's go! The rookie picks off Josh Allen. Win it. Let's go. Oh my God. Drops back to pass. He fires it over the middle. Touchdown! Garrett Wilson! The New York Jets tie the football game! The rookie! The Jets win! The Jets win! Ashton Davis, ice the game! Let's go! Handle Quinton Williams with the tackle for loss. That's a loss of 5 yards. Josh Allen, he's gonna fire up a bomb. Josh Allen, Sauce Gardner's there for the game winner! The New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills and improved to 6-3 on the year. Sauce Gardner!
That's how we get run the ball, boy. Yeah.
Yo, Jets Nation, what is good, baby? We are back live on Jets Media to talk about, can Mike White prove to be the guy? Can he prove to be the guy for the future for the New York Jets? And I know what you guys are thinking already. Richie, talk about Derek Carr. Talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. Talk about Aaron Rodgers. Talk about Lamar Jackson. Talk about all these quarterbacks. Okay, yes, I know. Those quarterbacks are definitely possible to be on the Jets next year. But I want to talk about who's on the Jets today. And that name is Mike White. I don't want to talk about hypothetical stuff in the offseason right now. There's nothing wrong with talking about it. But we have 2 football games left. And I think, personally, that Mike White, he has an opportunity. He has an opportunity to prove to be the quarterback number 1 for the New York Jets next season. Because even though the Jets have lost 4 in a row, you guys all know where the Jets stand in terms of the playoff picture. The Jets win these next 2 games, it's very likely they're in the playoffs unless the Patriots somehow win out as well. So, if Mike White goes out there and beats the Seattle Seahawks and has a very good game, efficient, gets in the end zone, offense does well, right? This is all hypotheticals. And we beat the Seahawks. And then say the Patriots lost to the Dolphins. And then we go into that Dolphins game in the end of the year, Mike White's homecoming, because he's from South Florida, by the way. We go into the Dolphins game, that's a playoff game. Win and you're in the playoffs. And say Mike White wins that game. We go to the playoffs with Mike White. And then say we're in the playoffs with Mike White. We go into Kansas City, most likely, unless the Buffalo Bills somehow fold and don't get that first seed, then it'll be the Bills. And we compete in that game. And Mike White still plays well. And Mike White's not the reason why we lost in the playoffs. We just happen to lose because the Chiefs are the better team or the Bills were the better team in that game. That's going to be a big question in the offseason of what this New York Jets team should do at the quarterback spot. Because if Mike White plays very good football these last 2 games and beats the Seahawks and beats the Dolphins and goes to the playoffs and plays well in the playoffs, and hey, what if he gets a playoff win? Dream big. I'm not sitting here delusional saying that we're going to go, Mike White's going to do all these things. I'm just talking about pure hypothetical scenario of, can he prove to be the guy? If he does those things, will we still be talking about Derek Carr in the offseason? Will we still be talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason? Because guess what? If Mike White gets this team to the playoffs, we have our Jimmy G. What is Jimmy G good at? Jimmy G is good at operating a system. He's good at being a system quarterback. He's good at going through his reads, getting the ball into the playmaker's hands, standing tall in the pocket, letting it rip. I just described Mike White, basically. Jimmy G and Mike White are very similar. Now, Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Mike White simply because he's more experienced. We've seen more of Jimmy Garoppolo. He's went to the Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers, and he's more of a veteran. He's also injury prone, and you can argue that Mike White has proved to be injury prone as well. Now, it's also a cheaper option with Mike White, as my man Hennessy talks about. Same thing with Derek Carr. I mean, Derek Carr is going to be an option. Whether you're a Jets fan that wants nothing to do with Derek Carr or a Jets fan that wants Derek Carr very badly, there's no argument that the Jets will definitely be looking at Derek Carr if he gets cut by Vegas, because he's a veteran and he's like a top 12 quarterback in the league. So, but he'll be expensive. I think the only route for the Jets quarterback position next year is Mike White or a veteran. I don't know what the future holds with Zach Wilson. And I also do not think that the Jets are going to draft a quarterback to start week 1. They could very well draft a quarterback this year, but he's not going to be the starter week 1. If anything, he'll be the backup behind Mike White or another veteran we bring in, and it's going to be one of those things where they groom him for the future. So I love Mike White. I think he possesses every single quality in a franchise quarterback in terms of his leadership, in terms of his ability to galvanize the guys. I mean, his personality, his energy, everything about Mike White off the field screams franchise quarterback. The way he handles the media, all these things matter. And I know people are like, well, who cares about all those things? I just want our quarterback to play well on the field and get us wins. Well, yeah, that's what we all want. But when you're a quarterback for the New York Jets, there's a lot of intangibles that needs to be go in your favor in order to survive. You know, the best example is Eli Manning, right? He's the only quarterback in my lifetime that I've seen in the New York market be a franchise guy. As a Jets fan, I've never seen a franchise quarterback. And being from New York, and obviously I'm very in tune with the Giants because I got a lot of friends and family who are Giants fans. Eli Manning, right? He wasn't a guy that was like a top 5 quarterback, but he did what they needed to do. He got them 2 Super Bowl rings because of the defense that they built around him, the offense that they built around him. And Eli was a pro's pro, right? Eli Manning was just handled the media properly, just had no issues off the field, no attitude, held himself accountable. And that's what this Jets team needs. A player to hold himself accountable, a player that's mature enough to deal with the New York media and be a captain on this team. And I really, really think that Mike White possesses all those qualities. Now, the big question is, I mean, those qualities don't mean crap if he can't play football and win us games, right? All those qualities I just talked about with the franchise quarterback means nothing if Mike White can't play football at a high level consistently, putting this team in a situation to win every single week, being a clutch quarterback in the fourth quarter. We've seen glimpses of Mike White do that. We haven't seen it on a consistent basis yet because, unfortunately, we've only seen some limited opportunities with Mike White. Last year, we saw the Mike White game, which is why he's in the Hall of Fame against the Bengals. He goes out there against the Indianapolis Colts on Thursday Night Football, has a touchdown pass to Elijah Moore, and then he gets hurt in the first quarter. We're like, damn. And then he gets another opportunity against the Bills. We all knew what happened in that game, his worst game as a pro. That's it for his season last year. He comes back this season, first game against the Chicago Bears. Lights it up. The Bears are a trash team. They were decimated with injuries. It was a rainy day in MetLife. And what do good quarterbacks do? They pick apart bad defenses, and that's exactly what Mike White did. He spread the ball around. He had a touchdown on the first opening drive. He had 3 touchdown passes to no interceptions, a 78 completion percentage, like 300-plus yards. I mean, you can't ask for a better day for Mike White in his first game of the season. And then a second game of the year against the Minnesota Vikings, one of the better teams in the league. He couldn't find the end zone. He had clutch throws to the point where we're looking at each other as Jets fans like, whoa, I haven't seen a Jets quarterback make these type of throws in fourth down in the fourth quarter for the clutch. And don't forget, in that Vikings game, we were a Braxton Berrios catch away from winning. Mike White put the ball exactly where it needed to be on Braxton Berrios. He dropped it. I think we can all agree that was not the reason why Mike White was not the reason why we lost against the Vikings. And then his third game was against the Buffalo Bills, where the offense was struggling with him, wasn't his best game, was still making good throws, was still moving the offense, some explosive plays. He gets injured, comes back with fractured ribs, and almost pulls off a victory. And then he's done for 2 games, and now he's sitting back. So now Mike White's back, and he has a chance to be the answer at the quarterback position. Because a big thing about the quarterback spot, a big thing about any position, including the coaching staff, in my opinion, is continuity. But you also don't want to pick continuity over talent, right? If Mike White doesn't play well, we're not going to bring him back as a starter just because of continuity purposes. We're going to get an upgrade. But if he plays well, and if I think literally the only way Mike White is the franchise guy for next season is if we go to the playoffs. I personally don't think that if Mike White goes out there against the Seahawks and he beats the Seahawks, but he loses to the Dolphins and he has a bad game against the Dolphins, for example, that he will be the guy. But there's no underreacting that he has a chance, man. He has a chance. He really, really does. And I'm excited for him to be able to prove. Because this offense, we all can agree, the offense operates under Mike White completely different. So I want to get your guys' thoughts of this game against the Seahawks and your overall expectations for Mike White. We're about to get into the spreads and talk about, some player prop bets and what to expect, who's the favorites in this game. So let's get into that real quick. So BetUS is a proud sponsor of this live stream and is also the official sportsbook sponsor of Jets Media. If we go to BetUS, they will give you $50 when you sign up without even making a deposit, which is pretty cool. So if you think the Jets are going to win on Sunday, hey, download BetUS and they will give you $50 for free. You put $50 on the money line, and if the Jets win, you're up money. But the Jets are actually favored. They're -1. And I find that interesting. I mean, both the Seahawks and the Jets are 7-8, right? So both 7-8, both fighting for that 7 seed in the playoffs in different conferences. And I feel like the Jets are getting respected here. But since we're on the topic of Mike White, let's see if they have any player prop bets on Mike White. I don't know if they do, actually. Yeah, the player props, they just have player to score first touchdown in the game. I think the Jets will score first in this game, and it's going to be a touchdown to Elijah Moore. I don't know. That's just a random guess that I have. But on BetUS, they have the Jets as -1 favorites. They have the total points at over or under 42.5. I think that could hit the over because I do feel like this Jets team has they have something on offense that they're waiting to get, right? Offensively speaking, that's the missing piece. And I think that this offense will click under Mike White. I really, really do. I feel like the run game is going to be better. I think the entire team is going to rally behind Mike White. And I really, really believe that this team is about to rally behind this quarterback and everything's going to be efficient. I really do. I mean, we've seen it. All 3 games with Mike White, we won once, we lost twice, and those 2 L's were 1-score games. Unfortunately, that Vikings game, we started off so slow and we were down 20-3 at half, so we were fighting from behind. And then that Bills game, we got hurt. So it was a lot that did not go our way. And obviously this topic is all about Mike White, but there's the defense that needs to step up in this game. There's the offensive line that needs to step up in this game. We need this Jets squad to get going. And I have a lot of faith in Michael White, man. I really do. Like, I've never seen a quarterback like, I'll be straight up with you guys, okay? I'm going to be completely honest. Maybe I never admitted this to you guys openly, and some of you guys will not believe me, but I don't really care because I don't lie. I keep it truth. But in the whole draft process, leading into the draft to get Zach Wilson, if you guys have watched my channel for a while, you know that I was the biggest Sam Darnold supporter. When he was struggling, I would support him. I would say it would be a mistake to move off of him. And I hold myself accountable, and they moved off of him. I was wrong. And when I saw the Jets, all the news about Zach Wilson in the pre-draft process, I was watching him, and in my head, I was like, I don't know if Zach Wilson is the guy. Like, I really don't know. I watched his film. I watched all of his college tape, and I convinced myself that he has the ability to be the guy. Because what else am I going to do as a Jets fan? I'm just going to be like, all right, this guy's a bust from the start. No, I didn't really feel optimistic about Zach Wilson in the pre-draft process. But when we drafted him, I was like, all right, Zach, you're the guy. And I will give you my 110% of my support throughout his entire career with the Jets, no matter what. And you guys know, if you watched my channel last year and this year, I'm supporting Zach through his ups, through his downs. But I remember in the pre-draft process, and I'm on record to say it, I was a big Sam Darnold guy, and at the time, I thought it would be a mistake to get rid of him, and it would be a mistake to draft Zach Wilson. But since that moment, it's been a year and a half, and I've obviously adjusted and adapted to the reality that Zach Wilson's our quarterback, and now here we are, and he looks like the biggest bust of all time. Now, I'm not here saying that I was right, because I think a lot of Jets fans felt the same way. And now Sam Darnold is, the Panthers are, for whatever reason, playing great football. I don't think Sam's the reason for it. I think it's more the run game, but shout out Sam. I have a soft spot for Sam Darnold, and I don't really care. I'll be rooting for him wherever he goes. I just think Sam's a good dude, and I think he deserves to be in a good situation because I really feel like the Jets organization failed Sam personally. Whereas Zach Wilson, on the other hand, I feel like they put him in a really good situation, and he didn't really come through with it. And Zach Wilson, I saw so much upside in him, man. Like, when we drafted him, I would just look at all of his intangibles, and I'm like, you know what? He really does have a physical gift. And I'm on record to say, and this is with any quarterback, what makes or break you as an NFL quarterback is not your physical gifts, it's your mental. It's all about the mind. It's all about processing. It's all about understanding the game of football. And you really can't tell based off college tape if someone's going to be able to process things in the NFL. You can't. So when we drafted him, I was all in on Zach Wilson. I was defending him. I was arguing with people, and I was supporting my guy like I should as a Jets content creator. He's our freaking quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and talk crap about my own quarterback. I'm going to find all the positives that the organization saw in him and speak on it and defend him. When people talk crap about Zach, I would defend him. And I do not regret any of that at all. When I heard people say that Zach's not the guy, he's a bust before the season, I'd attack them. Not attack them. I'd rebuttal, and I'd say, no, you can't write him off as a bust yet because he has to prove himself in year 2. He has all these qualities. If he puts it all together, if he can figure out the defenses to read, if he can do all these things. Well, all the things that I said, if he can do, that didn't happen. So maybe I look like the idiot, but I have no regrets of being wrong because I support my quarterback. But the reason why I went on this whole topic is when I saw Mike White, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I was at that Mike White game last year. I was at the Mike White game last year, and I saw that live. And then I was so blown away because the way he operated that system was totally different, man. And I don't know. From that moment, I always felt like, and a lot of Jets fans in that moment after the Mike White game was like, wait a second. We have a rookie quarterback that's a second overall pick, but can Mike White be the guy? And then on Thursday night, we were all excited for it. He looked great, got hurt. Damn it. Okay, Mike White against the Bills. Could he be the guy? Nope, sucks. All right. But that's it for the Mike White experiment. Zach Wilson comes back. He has a better, he has a better second half of the season, and I was excited for him. I feel like he showed promise. Zach Wilson completely Zach Wilson completely proved to me, at least, that he was showing signs of improvement, which is getting me excited. Like, okay, Zach, at the end of your rookie season, you went 5 straight games with no interceptions. You started to not turn the ball over. You went toe to toe with Tom Brady and almost beat him. You showed all the intangibles. And in my head, I was like, okay, this is a good sign for his future. And I was supporting him. I was finding all the good. And I was talking about the bad. I wasn't blindly supporting him, by the way. If you guys watch my channels, you guys know that I was very critical with Zach this season. But at the same time, I just wasn't prematurely writing him off. And I think that's my overall point here, guys, is I just am not someone that likes to prematurely write someone off without giving them an opportunity to prove themselves. And that's really my point. Like when we drafted Zach Wilson, wasn't my favorite pick in the world, but I was like, okay, Zach, let's prove. Let's go. You're my quarterback. You're going to be the guy. You are hopefully going to be our franchise quarterback for the next 20 years. I mean, that's all we freaking want when we draft a quarterback second overall. And I, believed in him and I believed in the organization. And that's really what it comes down to, guys. I trust in Joe Douglas. And maybe he made a mistake with the Zach Wilson pick. Obviously, he did. But I'm a Jets fan who really, and by the way, I did not trust a lot of front offices. I didn't trust Mike McCagnon. I didn't trust a lot. This is just a Joe Douglas thing. I don't blindly follow whatever the Jets do. But with Joe Douglas, I just believe in his vision to the point where, what do I know? Who am I to say that Zach Wilson wasn't my favorite player coming out of college when we have NFL scouts and people doing the job to do it? And unfortunately, they obviously didn't do it well, right? So that's really it. That's really my whole mentality. I never really was open about this with you guys. And I'm a transparent guy. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I'm a transparency. I don't like I like to be open with you guys by Green Truth. $10 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. Happy New Year, Richie. Just want to do my part for the channel. Well, thank you so much, Green Truth. I really do appreciate that. Happy New Year's to you guys as well. Tomorrow is the New Year's, and luckily for us, the Jets game on Sunday is in the new year. We're not going to be in December. We're 0-4 in December. Get us into January, and let's not even think about December. Meaningful games in December didn't go our way, folks. We're 0-4 in December, which kind of stinks. But Green Truth, I really do appreciate the $10, my man. Really does help out the channel, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also think when it comes to Zach Wilson, you can argue that the Jets organization, in terms of the coaching staff, didn't do right. I don't know if I have trust in Rob Calabrese developing Zach. I mean, I don't know if you guys know about Rob Calabrese, but he's a Long Island kid like me who was a great quarterback at high school. And I like 30 minutes from me. And it's his first year as a quarterback coach. Like, he has no experience. Like, why do we have someone who is literally like never developed a quarterback in his life, and his job is to fix a number 2 overall pick? And then we have Mike LaFleur, who is a young quarterback, right? So a young offensive coordinator, rather. But it's all good because we have Mike effing White, all right? That's my overall take on Zach Wilson. Obviously, he's a big elephant in the room. You got to bring him up when talking about the future of this Jets team at that quarterback spot. But I believe that Mike White has every single opportunity to prove to be the guy. He does. And I'm excited for it, bro. I'm so excited to see Mike White on Sunday, man. And I feel like Mike White is a perfect example of a quarterback that can elevate the guys around the team that Zach Wilson proved to not be able to do. Zach Wilson was not able to elevate guys. I don't think I've ever seen one glimpse of Zach being able to figure out how to win when the situations around him is not doing well. But when it comes to Mike White, I think he has that quality because he can scan defenses. He can read. He knows where his progressions are. Saleh doesn't have coaching connections. Well, I the unfortunate, devastating truth about this, Zach, is um, Knapp was the veteran offensive guru that was supposed to help develop Zach Wilson. And unfortunately, we all know what happened. A tragic, tragic loss. It's bigger than football. Greg Knapp passed away last offseason, and he was the passing game coordinator. I mean, I don't think people understand how much of an impact that had on Zach Wilson's development. That's not an excuse for Zach at all. But talking from a coaching staff perspective, that was a big, big blow from the coaching staff because he was going to develop Mike LaFleur. He was going to develop Rob Calabrese. And he tragically passed away, which did not sit well with the organization because, I mean, are you kidding me? That's bigger than football. That's life, bro. That's tragedy. And he was a veteran. I mean, that man developed Mike Vick and Steve Young, I believe, and other great quarterbacks. I mean, that guy, Matt Ryan, he's been around for years and years and decades. So that was a big blow to the coaching staff. And the Jets didn't get anybody in the building in the offseason to replace him. And they just went with Rob Calabrese. And I think that was a mistake. I don't trust Rob Calabrese. I really don't. I went to high school with his cousin. And when I heard that, I was like, wait. So the Jets quarterback coach is cousins with someone I went to high school with. I mean, that means nothing. But, like, it was kind of weird, like, how local it is. And I'm just hoping that Mike LaFleur improve a lot. Because obviously he's under a lot of heat right now. When you have an offense that's not playing well like it is recently, you're going to be the one to be blamed. He takes accountability, as he should. So, guys, I really do appreciate you tuning into the show. If you did not already, please consider hitting that like button. We were talking about Mike White proving to be the quarterback for the future, potentially, if he can get this team to the playoffs. It all starts on Sunday, though, because the game against the Dolphins does not mean anything if we cannot beat the Seahawks. Because we have a chance to finish over 500. We have a chance to get to 9-8. And if anybody told you before the season that the Jets will finish 9-8, they would say, sign me the hell up. I don't care what happens in the middle of the season to get us there. Get me to 9-8. I mean, you can argue that some people would be happy with 8-9. 7-10, you would say it's an improvement from 4 wins. But I think if we finish 7-10 this year, that would be a big time disaster because of the whole fact that we've lost 6 straight to end the season. But it's all good because that won't happen. That won't happen. And I really, really am excited for the return of Mike effing White. So, guys, we're going to be live again tomorrow. Hope you guys have a happy new year and enjoy your Friday night. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button, guys, on your way out of the stream. It really does help out the channel a ton. We have a big-time test on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Mike White has every single opportunity to prove to be the guy for the future. It's simple, Mike. Win the last 2 games, and there's like an 87% chance that we're in the postseason. Don't worry about winning 2 in a row. Worry about winning 1. And that starts Sunday. We've lost 4 straight. And it's not all on Mike White. It's on Mike LaFleur. It's on Robert Saleh. It's on Jeff Ulbrich. It's on the entire offensive line. And it's on the entire 53-man roster and whoever's active during the game to play their best quality football and play with everything that they freaking have. They got to let everything out there. Let it all out there, folks. Let's go. Jets, Jets. Let's get some positive vibes. Let's get this fan base fired up. I know we're not home in this game. We'll be in Seattle, all the way in the West Coast. But I want to see Jets faithful really representing this squad and pumping some positive vibes. Enough of the toxic stuff. T. Rivera with a $10 super chat, man. Thank you so much, my friend. Richie, love you. Love your show. Keep it up. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. With that said, I was a Mike White fan since that Cincinnati game. I saw a real quarterback that night. Me too, bro. I was at that game, and I walked away like, whoa, 400 yards? Who is this guy? I couldn't agree more, T. Rivera. I really do appreciate the donation. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to my channel. It supports me in ways that you guys won't even understand. So thank you. Really do appreciate you, T. Rivera. Merry Christmas to you as well, and a Happy New Year. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the show. Thank you to everybody that was tuning in. Have a great Friday night. Let's go Jets, and I'll catch you guys next time. Wow, you changed your profile picture to my father? You're really wherever you are, you're really stalking me on my social medias. This has made my night. Shout out to Big Rich that in the profile picture. That's my father, guys. Big Rich. Oh, that's funny. That's hysterical. All right, guys. Happy New Year's. Let's go. Jets. Peace.